Dear friends, you're welcome to another edition of Beyond Africa podcast. And on this edition, we are looking at artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence is going to affect jobs in Africa. Have you for a while thought about artificial intelligence? Did you just hear about artificial intelligence? Are you wondering what artificial intelligence is and how it's going to affect your work? Most of what we hear about artificial intelligence is related to jobs. Sometimes we hear artificial intelligence is going to take over jobs, is going to replace human beings, is going to put human beings out of jobs, out of existence, and even out of life. So today, we thought it wise to bring onto the set people who know about artificial intelligence, who've worked on artificial intelligence, who know the breadth and the depth of artificial intelligence, and who can tell us something about artificial intelligence and especially how it is going to affect our jobs in Africa. Why Africa? Because it's a continent that we hold so close to our hearts. Why jobs? Because jobs keep the economy going. Jobs keep us going. And of course, we need to be confident about our next day. Without a job, we are not going to be sure of our next day. And therefore, let us stay glued. Let us stay tuned to this conversation and hear from these experts what they think about artificial intelligence and how it is going to affect our jobs. When we come back, I'll introduce my guest to you. So let me introduce you to Mr. Obi. Mr. Obi is a friend who works on artificial intelligence, and he has a lot of information to share because he is looking at how artificial intelligence can shape the continent of Africa. On this, guys, he's founded a network of people who are brainstorming and thinking of how best they can bring artificial intelligence to develop Africa. Obi, so can you tell us about yourself and what you are doing with artificial intelligence?
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Bernard, for having me. It's a privilege, it's an honor, and I don't take it lightly. Well, artificial intelligence or AI, it's a topic on the lips of everyone. And I see it as opportunity for normal people and unconnected people that usually don't have access, that will get access and be on the same playing field, everyone. If we fight for them, if we make it available for them, if we go extra miles to get them across, get it across to people that need it the most. I've worked with a currently gathering team of experts that are having the right discussions on the best way to do that. I'm a data person I trained as an engineer and then moved into data and analytics. I currently work with CEOs and senior leadership of companies to develop them, increase their data literacy, and help them to formulate data strategy for their organizations. And like all emerging technology that's coming out is based on data. Call it blockchain, drones, Internet of Things, AI, artificial intelligence, they're all data driven. So that's where I am now, and I hope to give more insights as we proceed.
Thank you so much. I'll be coming back to you to give us more information about what data is necessary to build the systems that we need to foster artificial intelligence on the continent and how we can get advantage of that. Let me bring my next guest to you. He is Femi. Femi is trained in the law, and he's going to tell us more about the law, AI, and data, and how we can use that to the advantage of the African continent and the African youth. So Femi, can you tell us more about you and the work you do and how that is related to data?
Yeah, thank you so much, Bernard. And thank you, Obi. Thank you, everyone, on this podcast. Femi Olajede. I am a lawyer and I have a legal background, but currently I'm into data privacy. And coming to AI and the disruption that is happening, for me, I'm coming from the regulatory perspective because I believe that AI in itself is not bad. Neither will I say it's good or it's the best thing that has happened to humanity. But I believe that everything has to have a regulation. All right. We can't just leave AI just that way and not regulate it. So I'm coming from this perspective that AI needs to be regulated, even in the African as it relates to our topic. So I'm coming from that regulation perspective of what AI is going to bring on scene, talking about high risk applications, as it affects, evaluating the creditworthiness of Africans, as it affecting the educational opportunities of Africans, as it affecting the critical infrastructure that we have in Africa. How is AI going to affect our political system? How is it going to affect our voting? So those are the things that's a perspective in which I will be coming from, and as it relates to the topic, I believe that AI will not take our jobs, as it were, in Africa. But I believe that AI will definitely, in a way, help create more opportunities for us in Africa, just like the advent of the computer and the internet age has brought about some expansion, in creating more opportunities for us in Africa. That's my perspective.
Thank you so much, Femi, and thank you for shaping the conversation and putting it within the context of the jobs and the regulatory needs. Because when Obi was talking, he mentioned the fact that he works more with CEOs. He's an engineer, and the growth of AI generally has been an engineering question, and it is not strange for us to notice that the regulatory question is still being debated because regulators, lawmakers, politicians, lawyers may not have an insight into what AI is, which of course makes sense because technology advances before the law. Law generally comes after the fact. And can we say at this point, Femi, that the regulation of AI is picking up the right steps, or AI is moving faster than the regulatory landscape is building up?
So AI has already is like the literal, what do you call it now, horse that has left the barn. All right, is already galloping on into, I don't know, the marketplace before we can lock the door to determine when that horse will come out. You get it? Or when that horse will, we have to regulate that horse. So, because for every landscape, for every invention, for everything that happens. Actually, you just said it, that the law is like it comes accessory after fact. It comes after things have happened. And when you look at, let's take an example now that you have the internet. It's just like www, the World Wide Web. Before we could think Jack Robinson, it's all out there. And we now feel that, oh, children, we just remember that, oh, children have access to this World Wide Web. Oh, there should be a way, for us to regulate, how children access the World Wide Web. So, and that's the same thing with AI. AI, there's something called scraping. I think you will get to know that. It was in the Netherlands, the Kingdom of Netherlands. They just brought it out that scraping is illegal. So people that are using AI tools in Netherlands cannot just scrape. AI functions based on data, but the regulator has to come and say, hey, even before we have our own AI Act, we are saying it right now within the scope of data privacy that you can't just scrape data. it will be illegal for you to scrape data in the Netherlands. So I would say that AI had already gone out before we start thinking about biometrics. Like, someone of my color, AI would discriminate against me because of the preloaded data. It was afterwards that they now started to, seek for data, that affect people like me, people of my color. So that kind of discrimination can affect my own fundamental right. So I believe that AI has gone, in order to answer your question, has already gone out of the ban. The law is now chasing, and I know the law will meet up.
I hope the
Well,
law is going to meet
so,
up because I actually know something about the law. But anyway, let's have this conversation and we'll discuss about the law of AI maybe in the future. Obi,
yeah.
carry on, Obi.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that it's gone, but the most the danger is not that it's gone, it's that it's changing at a record speed. So you can the policymaker can come together, sit together, and agree on something and put the law in place or regulation in. 1 month later, that law will be obsolete because AI is changing, like it's changing. So it requires the agile method that I will see in project management. That law policymakers will learn to be agile in their. This conversation has to continue. It's not something that will stop. The way you do, they formulate laws and it's in play till maybe another tenure of a new government to come in. It's not gonna be like that with AI. It's changing like that. It's changing. So there's more work needs to be there. All hands needs to be on deck.
That is the engineer talking about what they do in the field of AI. That's how they are building it. And there is this concept of baking security and baking privacy into technology so that they advance hand in hand. Is it possible at this point, Obi? Do you see a possibility of the law catching up with AI? Because apparently the AI is moving so fast and things are changing. Elon Musk has been very critical of the quick evolution of AI, and he thinks there is a need to put a stop somewhere to regulate, to make sure that there is a good regulatory framework somewhere before we go to a certain extent. Do you think that can ever happen?
Well, that's what I mean by everyone being on the table, constant conversation. In that sense, I think I agree with him. If there's a way to put a bit of stop, but then it's difficult because people are developing what they need at their own speed. That is not on the mainstream doesn't mean it's not happening. So it's to do as much as we can. To get the regulations in place, and implementation is another thing. You can do all, but how do you monitor? How do you make sure people are following the rules and the so the law is going to catch up, but it needs more work. It's not normal like every other regulation you put in place and it's there for people to follow. But the way, because AI is something that that's out there, I think it will help in some sense to get these people that are trying to use it early enough, caught them on their tracks early enough, but then put proper deterrent and penalties in place. Good ones that will scare people away. If not, they keep doing what they want to do and keep changing things the way they like. It can be dangerous, but like my brother Femi said, every good thing comes. There's always two sides to every coin, and that we have 10 people and 3 of them are bad doesn't mean we'll kill all of them at the same time. We'll just find a way of managing it and helping, begging, and even trying our best to convince the rest to do the best they can to benefit all of us. But I think law is very key aspect of it, and I hope the policymakers, because most of them don't listen. I just hope they will listen this time around. Yeah.
I am really hoping that we would have that avenue where lawmakers and politicians and lawyers and engineers sit in one room to discuss the importance of putting the right brakes, putting the right guardrails to regulate AI, because its advancement is good, but at the same time, its advancements, from what they say, could be troubling to the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us now, we are watching the Beyond Africa podcast, and today we're discussing AI and its role on jobs in Africa. So, if we have to switch back to talk about AI and Africa and jobs, Femi already made mention of the job landscape. You, from the technical point of view, Obi, what do you think is the most pressing thing that Africans should understand about AI and jobs on the continent?
Okay, thank you very much, Bernard. I think it's just awareness. We don't have enough awareness, not to talk of the skills. If you compare to countries in the Western world and how people know and learn about AI and what it can be used to do. AI is going to happen to everyone. So the faster or the quicker we learn to get people involved in Africa, make people aware, and then start training them up. Awareness is different from competency. Before you can play in that play with the global market, it's not just being aware, you must also be competent. So if you are afraid of AI taking your job or whatever, then I say don't be afraid, because AI cannot. What will take your job is someone else that can use AI while you cannot. So what are you doing now to get in line and learn, train, continuous learning, training yourself, getting out there? And that's what we're trying to do with the think tank, is to make it available, and then the decision is for people to take it up. Because what in Africa, the opportunities are very slim. They're very slim. It's not like here that everything is available, lots of government support. I just learned the other day that UK government is sponsoring organizations. So if your organization have staff that want to train in AI, the government will automatically pay 50% of the cost of that course, and your company will pay the remaining. So if you have AI team that are trying to develop AI team, the government will automatically pay 50% of whatever is going to cost you to develop that team. So it's a big thing for people that are in the UK. It's a good thing, but it's not available in Africa. Most governments are not interested. So it's a private sector thing, and hopefully the government will join in. But AI is not taking anybody's job. It's going to create more opportunities for people, but then you need to reskill, you need to upskill to be able to take part in that opportunities. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Obi. Femi, as it stands now, Obi was talking about training. From your perspective, What should people be training in? Because when I hear about AI and I hear about the technical part of it, the engineering part of it, the data part of it, I may be thinking that I need to train in engineering, I need to train in data, I need to train in computer science before I can get into the field of AI. And definitely from Obi's presentation, looks like AI is something that everybody must have a glimpse of or an understanding of it. So what should people actually be training in if they want to meet up to the fray?
Okay. Thank you very much. Like, if I can understand your question very well, are you talking about Africa in general? Because right now, only Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Ethiopia, all right, and one other country are really at the forefront of coming into this knowledge of AI. Because if you aggregate, I'll still answer your question about training, because training has to do with awareness, isn't it? Because if I go to Somalia right now and I'm telling them more about AI, or go to Eswatini, some of those other countries that I've not listed earlier, the knowledge of AI it's not really, we're still battling with mobile technology, internet awareness and all those things. However, as it stands, I still believe so strongly that, when it has to do with training, it has first to do with, because it was my son who brought to my notice, my younger one, my younger son, my 13-year-old, who made me know that, oh, daddy, there's this thing that is going to send you out of job. There's this thing. It made me aware. It created that, curiosity in me to even know what is the thing. Oh, okay, machine learning. And I began to, upskill personally, even though I've not yet done some so-called certifications, in that field of AI to make it that, oh, I'm an AI master. So with regards to training, like Obi said earlier, like the UK government is helping, is showcasing that need for the ecosystem to be aware of this tool that is disrupting the way that we are going to be working in the future. It's even is disrupting the way we are working currently. It has disrupted. It's a disruptor, undoubtedly. From the chat GPTs to all the other tools, open Gemini, and the likes of it. All those other tools are already disrupting things. So awareness as to it's multifaceted. It's multifaceted. So as it relates to Africa, and training, I think the government has a role to play, and not just the government alone, also multinationals and businesses. They have a role to play in opening up opening up themselves and the people that work with them, opening them up to opportunities, to get themselves exposed, to AI, understanding how AI works and how it can benefit the sector that they are in. Take, for example, how many farmers in Africa know that AI can help them to predict their yield, can help them to predict the weather? Do you get it now? What's the weather is going to be? Let's say next year. How many farmers are aware? So those farmers need to be trained that, oh, there's a tool that can help you have something we call precision in your farming, in the way you are used to farm. So I believe so strongly that both the government and both the private sector have a role to play as it relates to bringing people into the awareness through training. That's it. I
Thank
don't
you.
know if I answered it so well.
Yes, you did answer the question, and there is a question from Keto James Kolemba that I want to address to Obi, because it kind of continues from where Femi ended. The question is, most people think that AI is Chat GPT. What do you have to say on this? Femi has already mentioned about using AI to predict climate, to predict yield, and all the rest. So what can we tell James about what AI is?
AI, ChatGPT, it's a small portion. It's an organization actually, because there are some other organizations that does the same thing, like Bird for Google, Meta is coming out, Gemini as well. There's lots of other generative artificial intelligence out there, but then there's AI. AI itself, it's a they say people say it's a technology, but I like to go for that to say you have to consider it as a team member wherever we're working, if you learn how to use it and use it properly. So it's bigger than ChatGPT, and people have to know that the more the awareness increases, and let me just say this: knowing AI is not just trying to train about all machine learning, engineering stuff. No, basic awareness, knowing that as a lawyer, there are things you can do easier with AI. As an accountant, as a teacher, a lot of teachers in the UK now use AI to prepare their learning, plan their journey, their class learner journey and everything, their classes, even to help them with the assessment. not complete assessment, everything, but AI will do what it can to fasten what you're doing, but then you have that human eye is still needed. And that's part of the reason why I keep saying that AI is not taking our job, because AI cannot do it all by itself. We still need, I was talking to a HR officer the other day. He was telling me that lots of CVs are being rejected because people use AI to generate their CVs, and some of the CVs is not aligning with the job description or what are needed, and AI do make mistakes sometimes. So you still need your human eyes and understanding to do a little things and get exactly what you wanted out of it. So AI is far more than ChatGPT. It's a technology, but like I said, it's something that will help a lot. Depending on what you're doing, whatever you're doing, as a farmer, let me just mention farmers. Yes, it helps you to predict a lot. That's other things it can help you to do. But then, as a farmer, you might be wondering, oh, I don't have engineering background. I can't learn this now. You don't have to learn all that. AI actually, ChatGPT, let me use it, I've developed for that, the 0.01, 401. It's not, it can teach you, it teach you a certain thing. So if ask question is conversational. If you're talking to it, will be responding with answers to your questions. So you can learn, you just to learn basic things. You learn what is it all about, and I like the person asked that question, just basic awareness. And then you narrow it down to what you're doing. How does it help me? I'm an accountant. How does it help me? I'm a teacher. What can I use it to do? I'm an engineer. What can I use to do? And it's part of our think tank, what we're looking at. In specific professions, how do they use it? Everybody must not be developer, AI developers. All of us will not be AI engineers or prompt engineers or whatever in AI. No, but we all need, just like when software, Microsoft came into to make computers available for everyone. Computers used to be big thing, but then it becomes everyday thing. So if you are going to survive, you must have an awareness and know how you can use it to benefit or to improve. It's about productivity. How do I use it to improve what I'm doing, to make it faster, to make it better? And hopefully we'll be making lots of information available to people. I worry about Africa because we are not on the same playing field with everyone, but with the amount of attention now, we're going to bring lots of information and a lot of resources to help people to do that.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're going to come to talk about Africa, and I think we're still in the generalities now. And I know Femi tried to paint a picture of where AI is on the continent and where we're going to with AI on the continent. But I think the second part of this conversation, we're going to focus on Africa. Just let's try to focus on Africa and see how we can talk about AI and jobs in Africa. That said, dear viewers, you can keep your questions coming. We are definitely going to address all the questions that are in the chat box. And let me give a shot at this question from Nyekonge Charles to Obi. Then we'll get Femi's take on it when Obi is done. So the question from Nyekonge Charles is, would AI enhance innovation and creativity, or is it offering a shortcut to lazy people?
That's a good question, actually. Well, if you can succeed in life, you must learn how to use things, whatever tools you have, to the best of your ability. And ability has to do with your competency, being able to offer what you have. So if you're lazy, well, if you decide to be lazy, AI will help you to do that. And then you make lots of mistakes because AI is not human. It still needs that critical thinking and your third eye. So you develop yourself how to use AI to improve what you're doing. So if you think, I'm not going to do anything again and chalk everything into AI to give me answers, there's going to be lots of errors. And remember, whatever you're doing in life, that's a reason for it. You're targeting something. You have something in mind you want to achieve. AI doesn't have that emotional aspect of it. It's not human. So it doesn't know. You must guide it. And to guide it to get what you want or what you need, You must be able to upskill yourself or understand what you do. And that takes away you being lazy. So lazy people will be lazy, more lazy, but people that want to survive, want to be innovative, will be more productive. That's the way I'll put it. And if you want to develop yourself, AI will help you, even if you're lazy before, but you want to change. That's a good way to do, but you cannot be lazy and get the best out of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So let me just add to what Obi has said. If you want to be lazy, let me ask, I will just bring it down. When the typewriters were about to replace, typewriters with the computers, you had some lazy typists. They were lazy in their mind, you know that? Because will you call it laziness when somebody develops a app, all right, for pregnant mothers? And about 1.8 million pregnant mothers have gone on that AI solution. They were, they do postnatal, prenatal, you get it. But the South African government, the health sector, somebody introduced to them that, all right, we could reach out to this registered pregnant mother. You get it? And you can reach out to them and help them they can chat with this AI tool and it can respond to them about how they are feeling. And, more than 1.8 million people registered for that. Another person is also developing an AI solution that can speak, God knows, maybe 2,000 languages, with our local Swahili, local, languages we have there in Africa. So I would not call that lazy. It's not going to make people lazy. It's only going to make people innovative. Like Obia said, it's going to make them integrate AI into their existing solutions. All right. So either you be a doctor, you're a doctor, you keep writing and writing and writing. You can just speak to a tool and it's going to transcribe and put everything you've written and it carries that weight off you. So either you're a developer or AI will just there's so many advantages. As a lawyer, as I'm still going to court, it makes my job easy. I just put in, highlight the issues for me from this fact, and it brings out the issues. Does that make me lazy? It only makes me smarter. So that's my view. It's not going to create a lazy bunch of people. It's going to only create people that will develop solutions in their area. And I tell you, the field is vast. Whatever you're doing, AI as a component in helping you to become the best at that thing you're doing. So I don't think it's going to create a lazy bunch. It's going to create, an vista for us to be able to keep on innovating, keep on integrating what we're doing into, existing systems. That's my viewpoint.
Yeah, this actually reminds me of something that I watched in America here. There's a lawyer who filed a case in court with AI. He generated information from AI and filed that same memo in court without verifying the information. He's under disciplinary sanctions now because AI cannot replace you. AI can only help you. Once you go get a fax and a case from AI, take your time and verify if these cases have been decided and are published in a law report somewhere. You don't submit it like that because you're going to get into trouble. Then the other day I was watching a podcast, PBD podcast, and he said he went to see his doctor, and his doctor came in late and told him, "Oh, how are you?" He said, "Fine." Then the doctor told him, "You are going to be my first AI patient." He was like, "What do you mean?" The doctor sat with him and then he put up the system, input the X-ray he received and was asking questions to AI, and both of them started reading the answers, and it was like, okay, that is it. So that is AI in the world of today. You use the technology, but you use your human brain and your human intelligence to put the two together and get the best out of it. So let us talk about AI on the continent of Africa. We can talk a lot about AI in the West because there is a lot of information in the West about AI and how they use AI. And now, if we want to talk about AI on the continent, what should we be looking at, especially with jobs? How can we use AI to improve on our jobs? I think the best way here is to identify a few jobs that are common on the continent and advise those who are using or those who are professionals in those fields to see how they can make the best out of that. So let me start with you, Femi. What are those jobs you see on the continent that people could use AI to advance their performance on?
All right. So maybe we should break it into sectors. All right. So let's say the health sector. Let's say you're an health. How can the AI aid you in health? I just spoke about our doctors, like no doubt about it. We've agreed now. I think there's a consensus on this platform and what we are pushing out that AI is a companion. And I love the way Obi said it. Said it's a team member. So if we have that understanding, let's take the health sector. AI can help, let's say, an health attendant, just like the internet can help an health attendant to, you know, go beyond the walls of what she has been taught to get into uh, a better way of carrying out her duty as an health assistant. All right. For a medical doctor, AI can aid. Let's assume somebody develops a tool to help, like a microphone. Immediately, you are taking those records. Is recording the conversation between you and the patient. So rather than you scripting things down, there's this AI tool that is already, interpreting and bringing things in perspective. But like we said, with your mind also involved. So health could be an opportunity. It could definitely be an opportunity. Let's look into finance. There are a lot of apps that have been developed, not just apps, AI enabled apps, in that area of tech. So it could create jobs too in the financial sector. I spoke about our Greek. A lot of guys are doing like precision machines to spray. Let's say you have 5 hectares of a farm. You could code everything into this what's it called now, like rather than use the knapsack sprayer, you could just put it on a drone that is AI enabled, and it covers it in a very short time. So that's for health, and no, so that's for agric. So I think finance, agric, and health, yeah, AI can really come in as a handy tool. And let me speak about justice too. The Justice Department of countries, I tell you, the workload of our judges is neck breaking. AI can help solve the problem because we've agreed that it enables us to function. So, those are the very few aspects that I'm going to touch at this time. As the program progresses, we'll touch some other ones, but I've put the health sector, the agricultural sector, and the financial services sector. AI can help you to like know your credit worthiness, but you see the regulation will come in because AI can be very harsh. It doesn't have human feelings. That's the part where there is another job that can be created. So let's assume one of the biggest banks in your country uses AI to determine who she wants to give a loan to. For example, if AI helps them to determine the credit worthiness of a customer, definitely that might be bias. And I'm saying that based on the data that the AI has been trained with. It might be bias, and as a result of that, we need people that will now critically, with human feelings, check what AI has determined, all right, to now get a final assessment. So what AI does is not final. It doesn't have a final stamp on what it does. However, AI, we will now have to create jobs for people that will validate what AI has done to ensure that it's not affecting their human rights. So I think those are the few areas where there are real jobs that will be created in the African space. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Femi. Obi, if I'm hearing Femi very well, the question at this point is the data that is necessary to train the AI systems to feed us. Do you think we have enough data on the African continent already collected that can train the Africans? Say, for instance, can train about current issues in Africa. Do you think we have that data available?
Thank you, Bernard, for that. Do we have data? Yes, loads and loads of data. Is it ready for AI? Far away from it. AI, like what Femi is just saying, and we are worried about giving wrong answers, wrong information. It's based on trained data, and when the data is not clean, quality of the data matters a lot. And in Africa, we collect loads of data. The data points are so many. So when I travel from UK to Nigeria now, at the airport, they take my biometrics. And then when I'm leaving, they take it again completely. And then I want a SIM card, phone SIM card to call. They'll take my biometrics. And if I lose that SIM card within 2 weeks, I'm in that country, I come back to that station or that shop again, I want another SIM, they'll take my biometrics again. Oh, all of them are data collection. What are you doing with the data? They do not know. It's just accumulation. We call it noise in data analysis. It's just noise because it's not useful. You don't know what you're collecting. You don't know why you're collecting it. It's not well structured in such a way that it can be used to train the AI or to do anything with the AI. As big as Nigeria is, we do not have a central database system. So how is the government distributing resources? How are they monitoring who spends what and what they spend? That's a big question, and it's a big thing, and we are not looking into that. Small organizations here and there, private institutions, banks, and all that, they've started accumulating data, knowing what they're looking for, collecting the right data, having data strategies, because it has to do with strategy. You have to have strategy to know what you're collecting, why you're collecting what you're collecting, and what you're going to be using it for. How do you turn your data into assets? And part of that asset is training data for AI. It becomes asset that you can even sell other organizations. So as far as I'm concerned, we're so far away. The public sector even farther away, but the private sector, few handful are trying to do something on their own. But we still need that central database. I'm talking about Nigeria now. Central database to make it easy for everything to be able to work seamlessly and get to that people. You know, we talk about this AI and everything, and it seems we're focusing on the people in that city, big cities in our countries. No, what of those unconnected people in the villages? AI is going to happen to them too? Are we going to leave them behind?
Obi, that is the big question, right? That is a bigger picture question of it. People in the big cities and the data we have, what policy do we put in place to bring that data together? What about the person who is collecting that data at the collection point? Do you think the person is aware of what the person is doing at this point in time?
No, they're just doing their job. None of them is aware of. And that's why when I say, the biggest way of error in data is human error. Is human beings typing the wrong things, human being doing the right thing. So even when I come the first time and they took my data, if I come the second time, meet someone else, and in typing my name, instead of Obi, my middle name is Patrick, and the person write Patrick Obi, the code, if you write a code, then it will confuse the code to pick up that name because it's not the same thing. So they don't understand what they're doing, and it's quite difficult to start managing that. We have a lot of data, but I don't think it's usable. It might be a case of starting all over to collect the right data. I mean, in central, when it comes to central database system, that's where awareness and data literacy comes into play. Even in England, there used to be level 4 data analysis, but they brought it down to level 3 for everyone at workplace. You can now learn how to use data because it's going to affect everybody. Learn how at the minimum, the little aspect of it. So you have to know what you're typing, why you're typing, what you're typing, what it's going to do to the server or to the database later. It helps you to do the right thing. I think that's a big gap in when it comes to data and then AI in Africa. And now the same thing, a very, very small number of us will just be able to use it. But the majority in those remote areas, in those villages, will still be locked out of the whole system. And those are the ones I worry about the most.
Yeah, we should really be worried about people who give out our data, but they don't get any benefit out of it. But then we're also looking at the situation on the field. James is asking another question, and his question is about AI in schools, right? He says students can just go out to AI, such as ChatGPT, type in a question and get an answer, and then copy it and paste it, and that is affecting the thinking capacity and the reflection and the hard work they need to put in there. So if we are adopting AI in Africa, should we put some guardrails? What should professors actually be doing or teachers actually be doing to ensure that AI, ChatGPT information, generated information does not cut across student capacity and their output and performance at school?
Yeah, it's a big problem everywhere. And I'm an assessor. I do assess but data analysis, but even in data, we do reports. So we still write, students still have to, or learners who are working, they still have to write reports. And some people actually do that. Copy from ChatGPT. And that's why no matter what you put in your report, you must go through interview, that human element. And if you put a very beautiful report and I'm talking to you, asking you, you have to frame your question to trick the person and to make sure that telling you what they've written is correct. And you can easily, that is so clear. So teachers, when you come to class, it's not just taking your, like someone said, it's going to make some people lazy. Please, our teachers should not be lazy. They should be doing their work. The work of AI is to make their job easier, but then it gives them enough time to speak one-on-one to those pupils and students and all whatnot. Speak to them, form more labs. Labs is where you talk to, you set examples in class and they respond to it, and you assess them that way. So if someone brought an assignment they've done at home, and the next day that's lab, do the same thing you've done at home in 5 minutes. Show me that you can do that. If you put that in place, they'll stop. They'll know they can't get away with it. It's when people are doing it and you're taking it and letting them go, they'll tell their friends, everybody does the same. And that's what I'm worried about again in Africa, because people will now relax. Teachers will now relax. So whatever the students bring, that's it. It's fine. Teachers should do their job. AI is going to make their job easy. I mean, they'll have to help you to generate your lesson plan, direct your way, the way you get ready for lessons, and even helping to understand with assessment. But what that does is to give you that freedom to become a mentor, a coach to your students, not just a teacher that comes to class and give assignment, and then when they come back, you mark assignment good, and let them go with and let it go like that. It's gonna be a big issue, but we all hands needs to be on deck. Thank you.
Yeah. Femi, does this example about students terrify you?
Okay, yeah. Let me just to add to that. There's this element of critical thinking that AI is limited. AI is so limited when it comes to critical thinking, that human element. So I think teachers too should come up with questions that can help you to assess that critical thinking element. It will really aid in, because I know a student, they told me about a student who had failed in this particular research. And he just, I think after some time, he has failed like twice, just went to AI. He just came back and said, I've passed though. You understand? How did you pass? It was when they sieved it, because the AI tool can help you know what AI generated. You get it now? So I think teachers too should adopt that too. You can pick it that this is not the student that created this piece. You get it? Because now students can get questions on ChatGPT and get graded, with AI tools. So I believe what I'm just trying to say is that I think that aspect of critical reasoning, critical thinking, that human element, I think schools and organizations should come up to that level. Yes, you can use it for research, but when it comes to that output, there must be that human element so that we can keep pace, with this AI change within the setting. So I really be it's a challenging one, but all the same,
Yeah,
there are, yeah, that's what we can do about it.
yeah, Femi. Let's look at this example, right? In the West, you have a classroom with about 100 students. That's manageable. But in some
Yeah.
universities in Africa, you have one professor to about 1,000, 2,000 students, and he's supposed to grade them. Do you see a possibility of this professor actually going in and analyzing scripts with an eye to see if this is really effective? Is this is really handwritten by the students? Is that something the professor can actually do? Like, here, schools have integrated AI detection in the plagiarism systems. And when you submit an assignment online, if there is AI in it, it detects it, and the professor sends it back to you. But we don't yet have that system. And how, I'm trying to look at the possibility of that
Yeah.
teacher really
Yeah.
getting into it.
I see that. That's why I said it's an issue. It's an issue. And as we're discussing that, somebody too should take it upon himself, maybe listening to this podcast, to create a solution around that. Because it's going to be a tech solution, really. So that, like you said, they have controlled number of students in the classes in the West. But in Africa, we have this 2,000 students, 5,000 students that a lecturer is managing. So, yeah, solutions will be created. That's why I said there are job opportunities, if we will not be lazy as a result of what AI is going to bring about. So we have to be thinking in the light of helping to, like you said now, plagiarism can easily be detected. We need something like that too, that African lecturers can adopt and use so that the quality of students coming out will not, the quality of, will not drop. It will be something that will be at par with global standards, as it were. So that's the way I say it. It's just a balance. It's a balance. Yes, we use AI, but there's this human element of my critical thinking, to what I'm bringing out as a student. And the lecturer to sees it and say, wow, that conclusion was not, machine learning. This is student learning, that kind of thing. And it can be added to the AI database. So that's the way I see it. That's
Yeah,
the way I see it.
let me go to Obi. Obi, Femi is making a recommendation here that is looking very serious to me. The technical part of it, we need to develop something, a system that can help detect plagiarism. In the West, it's common. Most universities have integrated that in the plagiarism detection tools, like Turnitin and all the rest. We are still very far away from using plagiarism detection tools in Africa. But there is already another problem that is adding on to that, and that is adding AI on detecting AI to see if students are actually representing their minds when they write. From a technical part of it, do you think that is something that can be developed and propagated in Africa?
Well, everything anywhere in the world can be done, replicated in Africa. It's just having the right skill and the right support. And then the people use it. Is that if people are not aware of it, it's not gonna be it's not gonna go around everybody using it if they're not aware of it. If the lecturers himself is even skeptical, or if the management of the school thinks their lecturer is gonna be lazy and all that. But yes, it's 100% possible to be developed. But more than that, I think Femi said critical thinking. Yeah, that's part of one of the soft skills. Research upon research has shown that AI cannot take over. Emotional intelligence, critical thinking is still up there with the skills that AI is not capable of replicating or taking over. So if the teachers needs to go into training on critical thinking and AI and whatever, they should. I mean, AI, like I said, is giving them more time to spend with its students. Even if there are 1 million students, you don't have to speak to them one-on-one. It just interactive lab sections to speak to people, come up with something, people defend something, talk about them. I interview them here, not student per se, but people at work that are going through the apprenticeships, they prepare the endpoint assessment and they submit their reports. We talk to them one after the other, regardless of the numbers. That's how serious they are, making sure that if you say you have this, you're competent, you're competent. It's not about writing beautiful reports and you still fail. If you have all the beautiful reports you've written, you are unable to talk about it, defend it, or tell me what you've done or how you've done what you've done, you still fail. So that's the level they are here. I think more teachers should be trained in the right skill set to look into this. And Femi keeps saying more opportunities. Yes, lots more opportunities are out there in that teaching sector, in the education sector. A lot of things. They may not be teachers. They may not be just people that are looking into this work to make sure they're not AI generators or people to facilitate the sessions apart from the teacher themselves, to make sure that these things are in place. If not, there's no other way to stop them. People will use it and get away with it.
That's right. Thank you, gentlemen, for bringing these ideas, which I find very interesting. And I hope our viewers are definitely finding this conversation really interesting. And some of those professions that we could be talking about on the continent of Africa, you mentioned health, you mentioned finance, you mentioned justice, agriculture. We added education to that. And now, if we want to propose something we want to advise, say, a nurse in Africa on how to take advantage of AI to become better at the job. Because my conception of AI is not going, as you guys have said, let me summarize it from what you've said. AI is not going to take away our jobs, but AI can make us more effective, more competitive, and more brilliant at our jobs. So let's just talk about this medical doctor or this nurse who is somewhere in South Sudan and has the advantage of and has a possibility of using AI to advance his job. How would you advise this doctor to go about using AI to advance his job, Femi? I think I lost your voice.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I muted myself. I just popped it on. I'm sorry. Okay, so I believe so when we say AI, we already said, let's start from the basics. We said ChatGPT is just like a microcosm of what AI could do. Okay. So as a nurse in South Sudan, if I have access to, like I know in Kenya, like 90 something percent of Kenyans have access to a mobile device. Okay. Just like what the phone can do to help me as a nurse. All right. So one of it is this: as a nurse, I will begin to think of ways individually to improve what I'm doing. So I could, at this stage in South Sudan, if I have a phone and it's connected to the internet, I could I could download or sign up to what the basic Chat GPT or 4.0 or Gemini or Bard or whatever. At that level, AI has already aided what I'm doing. That's the way I see it. However, to take it a step further, if there are technological solutions by IT developers in South Sudan, I could discover that there is a limit to what I do as a nurse. Let's believe I'm on duty and this thing keeps happening. Let's assume I'm in the, let's say, psychiatry ward where they have mental issues. I could begin to imagine that, all right, there's this problem I've discovered, and I think it's quite repetitive, this thing that I do. So I might now chat up with this IT person, you understand, in South Sudan to develop, or it might not even be South Sudan, it might be anywhere in the world. That solution might come as an AI tool to help me to, predict in a more accurate way what happens within that cycle, in that psychiatric department. I just use that as an example, or maybe surgery or any department within the hospital where I function as a nurse. So that's what I believe so strongly, that AI can help the nurse, can help the doctor, can help the health assistant in that hospital sphere. AI can even help a security man in that hospital, to carry out his duty. That's by, let's say, deploying an AI tool to detect movement, at a particular time of the day. Or did you get it? Or a patient who will discover that this is what this patient needs. An AI deployed tool can aid that doctor, that nurse in South Sudan in many ways. But let's start from the basic, the one that is closer, ChatGPT, Gemini. These are AI enabling, tools that could help to get information, because it's more about the information. Because if we're looking at those technical things, they might be far reaching, for us in Africa, because of the level of the development. Because what I was thinking about, look at, okay, for example, let me end it with this. The nurse needs to, because I was having this conversation with my son, and he was telling me, oh, I said AI cannot perform the job of a caregiver that changes folks indisposed individuals pampers. I believe the robot, let's say robotics, robotics and AI quite connected. The robot enters the room to change the pampers. So the nurse can be thinking in that light that, okay, this pampers I'm changing, this this thing I'm changing at this particular time of the day. Can I have a tool, a AI enabled tool, to perform that task? And we now say that, oh, AI has helped that nurse. So, but I think in South Sudan, what can be done is just download the Chat GPT, let it aid you in what you're doing. I don't know if I've spoken to that particular nurse question.
Yes,
Yeah.
you have spoken to it. Let me invite Obi to see if he has any additions to make onto that particular question.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think Femi has spoken well, but for me, it's the awareness. People have to be aware before they can use the tool and understand what the tool can do for them before they can even think of. I was speaking to a colleague from Uganda, and he runs a charity that is training people in AI awareness. And he said to me that they've made research, they've checked the whole nation. They are the only ones doing that at this point in time. And young people in the universities are not aware. Not that they're not aware, they don't know where to go. They may see it or hear about it in the news, but it's not something they are thinking of, because it's not so. And if quite a small number of people knows about it in an area, in a region, it cannot, to adopt, for it to flourish and be sustainable, a huge number of people must be aware of and want to use it. Yeah, you cannot, like what Femi is, if that nurse develops a tool that she's using alone on her own, maybe they spend money to do that or anything like that. It's not sustainable. It's not, it cannot, other people must want to use it. And before they want to use it, they have to understand what's the need, why are they using it, So I think it will start with mass awareness campaign and training, upskilling, and not just upskilling in the sense of being a developer, like I said. No, just awareness, that like data literature, that people being aware of data. What is data? Because when we started, when you say data, people don't understand what you mean by data. What is AI? And then they start learning how can they use it in their workplace. Only then can people start thinking, okay, how do I develop a tool with this? If I cannot, who do I speak to? And that ecosystem is not there. You need people that have entrepreneurial mindset to know that, oh, I can start something in that sense. And if I can't do it on my own, there's someone to speak to. Are there mentors? Are there coaches? Are there schools that can help us, guide them in what to do in order to bring forth those tools? Those ecosystem is far-fetched in the region. And I'm hoping that all those will start changing, because we can talk from here to tomorrow. If people don't know why they are doing what you're asking them to do, they will not be interested. They will be okay with their own limiting belief that where they are, I'm fine. I don't want to. Most people don't want to try new things. But if you're able to open their eyes and expose them to what the possibilities and how it's going to aid them and why they should do it, they will embrace it. So me personally, it's that awareness campaign, and that's what we're trying to do in AI for Africa. Make people aware, train as much as possible, and then from there you start creating that ecosystem, that society that talks about it, learns about it. It comes like when we are trying to train people on data culture. If in an organization, if it's only the CEO and the data team, that used to happen even in the UK. The technical team and the CEO gets information from the technical team about their data. And it doesn't work well when I'm in finance or in HR, and I don't know what you're talking about data. You talk to CEO and it doesn't flow because all the data you generate from HR, from finance, they go into the data system that informs the CEO or the whole company or the strategy or whatever they want to do to change, to grow, or to be more productive. So people need to understand where they are, what is happening, why you want them to do what they want them to do, and how it's going to be beneficial to them. And then they'll start accepting it and start being part of it. I'm talking about it being champions, and it creates a better atmosphere, easier to develop tools, easier for the usage, easier to tell someone next to them, and it goes. I think there's Washington that said it's one each one teach one. It just goes like that, ripple effect. But we need to start somewhere, and it has to start with that awareness campaign, training, scaling, and then upgrading and finding people's strengths and where they want to channel their strength, where they are better at, and focus on that aspect where they are good at to develop them further. Without that, it's still going to be a tall order for all of us.
All right. Thank you so much, Obi. Let me take these comments that are left on LinkedIn. LinkedIn does not send comments directly to the platform, so we cannot see them. We need to read them from here. We cannot put them on the screen. But viewers, kindly continue sending your comments, and we will be attending to them. Ask questions, and we'll let the guest respond to those questions. So Remy Takang Array says AI functions well when there is a human in the loop. And I think that is what we've been saying here. Remy himself is he's someone who is in the field of data and data privacy, cybersecurity law, and so he understands what he's talking about here. Then we have Pefela Gildas, a gentleman I know very well. He says AI can rather increase rapidity and efficacy in our job site. So I think the conversation is coming back to the same thing. We need a human being within the AI framework. We need it for efficacy and rapidity in the way we treat our questions at the job. Remy, you had made a point about a lawyer identifying issues from the case pattern. That is, can you throw more light for lawyers to understand how they could use maybe ChatGPT to analyze a case and prepare their arguments?
All right. Let me just say from this perspective, there are already tools that lawyers engage with. All right. It's still all about digital transformation. So let's say I'm handling a family law matter, okay, on custody of children in a divorce case. But the real issue there, we've trashed out other issues, but we're looking at the issue of the custody of children. There are like 4 principles or 3 principles that the court will take into consideration in determining that matter, okay, of custody, whatever jurisdiction I'm dealing with. All right. So I could just use my AI tool, either a specific one or the general tool, to just look at my jurisdiction and bring out the 3 issues and the 3 recently decided cases, okay, to support that issue with the facts that I have in place. Because it's facts and issues, isn't it? And you now present that to the judge with evidence, either case law or, evidence you bring to the court to say that, all right, this man is irresponsible. So I could use an AI tool or develop an AI tool in the area of family law that helps me to easily come to a conclusion that if the facts of this case, like we say it in law, are on all fours with what I have on ground, then I could get this outcome. And I can tell you it could be 97% or 98% correct. Let me say 100%. So it could help the magistrate or the judge not to waste that time. Are you getting it now? To determine what is there. Because the facts, like we say, are on all fours with what we've pushed ahead. So that's one of the fast ways that AI could help me to reach a conclusion. Even though, don't forget, I'm not relying on it absolutely, but to a great extent, I believe that these three principles it has highlighted for me, and I've matched it with the facts that I have, not just the facts, the evidence I'm bringing to the court. I can expect this particular outcome, and that will be it. That will be it. So that means it's not that a robot, like, okay, let's assume we have many cases. A robot can sit in that seat, you understand, and give that decision because of the data that has been put into it. So that's one of, I just use family law. There are many other aspects, you understand. But when it now has to do with issues like arbitration, issues like mediation, now it might be very difficult there because there are other factors. That human factor has come in. But for straight jacket routine applications, AI can make a decision. Well, for example, I'm now seeking an extension of time, like lawyers normally do, to file a particular application. All right. AI can determine if all the indices are there for that application to be granted. So you might not need to go through the route of, you might just easily sail through with an AI tool. So it could really help in that light. That, you understand, the judge does not need to waste his time checking if this application is valid or not. The facts are there. Let this one fly. But those ones that require human, element, it wouldn't. So that's it. That's it.
Thank you so much. I hope my lawyer people are actually listening to this because it's very, very, very important. And Pefela, who mentioned about time management and efficiency, he's a magistrate. And so I'm sure he's going to make good use of this. Yeah. Let me bring in Obi. Obi, I know you are so big on awareness, creating awareness, letting people know what they're supposed to do. And that is one of the fundamental missions of AI for Africa. Are you seeing any pathway in educating or in bringing that awareness and training people so far? Is it getting grounds? Are Africans understanding what AI is? And in fact, what are you doing at the moment to let Africans understand what the mission of AI for Africa is all about?
Thank you very much, Bernard. I think it's about using what is available out there. I think from my research now, I think we have to go through schools. I think we're narrowing down what we are doing. We've understood now that you can't just focus on everyone and everything. So what we're trying to do is to focus on the young adult, the young population. And like in the continent, we have over 4 million youths aged between 15 and 30 and 35 or thereabout. And going forward by 2030, it's gonna be higher. The report I read the other time said 42% of the global youth population will come from Africa. So it's quite a big number. And if you get them ready, those are the workforce. Those are people coming out of university or still in the uni. So what we're trying to do is to go through universities. We're speaking to lots of university in Nigeria already. We have a couple in Uganda through the organization OT Foundation I just mentioned now. So it's through university, getting people aware, training them, and And that's when you be able to separate the ones that are going to be maybe going to technical, but most importantly, making everybody aware. And that's when the people think outside the box. That's when you catch them young, be able to use their brain as young as possible to even develop. So it's not just about training, it's about knowing what people are good at. So bringing that entrepreneurial spirit around them and training mindset around them to make them want to do something, want to provide a solution. Sorry about that. So we are targeting into that area, and universities are all over. It's not just in the high cities. Sorry about. It's not only in the city, so it's all over. We're trying to use that to tap into those remote areas, get people involved, and make them understand that it's not just for them for their consumption. It's for them to go back and become the champions from wherever they come from, and talk to people in their neighborhood, people in their communities about it, and people will start being aware. It will not generate the noise and the thoughts we need to be able to make it happen before we get into that next stage of gathering different kinds of people. I was actually working on a project from my village called where I come from, and it entails talking to chiefs in my village about internet, not talking to them, but getting them to actually register themselves, and people help them to register themselves on our local database system that is part of the website as well. And people, it's a story for another day. It's not easy.
It's not where you said Chiefs, I said, wow. And then like our Chiefs into AI.
Yeah,
that's revolutionary.
It was an opener, and they are all of them. They're now requesting for mobile. What's it called? Phone.
Yeah. Wow.
It's wow. From there because they want to see what's happening. What we are doing is to make sure that all the village meetings, all the meetings happen, announcements happen there, or somebody's doing a funeral, it happens there. So that's the awareness. They're now aware. Okay, is this possible? Is this so we grew like that. It took a lot. But now everybody's coming into. If they cannot do it themselves, the chiefs are asking me to create an email address for them. So it's so is that level of awareness that I'm talking about? That's my, not about going to Lagos, Abuja, Dakar, all those, because people are there, they have the opportunities already, and they know what it's those inner cities, those remote areas, because like I say, AI will happen to us all. Are we gonna leave them behind and always going back to tell them this is what we are doing? Like the time before mobile phones get into that area, it took time. Before the mobile phones get in there. Now there's mass everywhere inside the villages. So let's make it quicker. And AI is quick. So let's help them to be aware, increase the awareness, increase the training, and good things will come out of it. And hopefully our people will listen to you lawyers to put the regulations in place and make sure that those ones that want to use it to
people are. Yeah, I just to add to that, great work, because we cannot put something on nothing.
Yeah,
we know that. Yeah, so if people are not even aware, what are we really saying? In Africa, which I agree with what you're doing. But one other thing I know that helps to increase awareness is legislation and regulation, and with fines. Because when you begin to fine corporations that engage with AI unethically, there's this unethical use of AI. Definitely, like if you tell 7% of their annual profit, say, this AI thing, everybody will wake up and they want to know what is that thing. That's the way I believe so much that regulators need to also awaken in their game, as AI is already. Let there be those. It will create awareness. Because I also believe that people need to be aware. You can't put something on nothing. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like how the conversation is sinking, and You guys converse without the moderator. That's fine. Yeah, and talking about the awareness, I'm very happy with the comment that is on screen from Baba Conscience Lamfe, who says, "Greetings to you all. My name is Baba from the University of Bamenda, Cameroon. I'm a PhD year 2 student. I'm happy to be present here." And who says this is not the awareness that we are raising, right? Platforms like this are necessary to continue raising the awareness, and you would find people who are in different spheres of life coming to learn of this information, and they'll start sharing it. And it's also important because sometimes when the technical part of it is working in its own silo somewhere and doesn't involve the policymakers, the lawyers, the political scientists, the sociologists, it ends up being a technical thing, and people become afraid of it. 2 years ago, if you told me something about data analytics or large learning language models, I was going to be like, what are you talking about? That is not my field, you know? But now with more interaction with people who do these things, I'm beginning to understand that these things are not even as complicated and as difficult as they used to sound in my ears. So the awareness and training is very, very important. This takes me to this question from Titigo. I know him. He's called Roderick. I don't know why he's using a different name here. Okay, he says he's Dr. Roderick Nzi. I know him. He's from Douala, Cameroon. Is there any way AI can have a role to play in fashioning project management in schools' performance? I think that should be a question for Obi.
In project management, you say?
Yeah, performance in schools.
Performance in schools or project management, yeah, it can help a lot. It can use AI can aid in project planning. That's a it can actually use ChatGPT to do a flow chart and do your planning, not just in projects, in everything you're doing. ChatGPT can help. Other generative AI can do the same. But yes, AI can help in project management, in like in research. I think he mentioned school as well, assessment, school performance.
Yeah.
The same research you do. It takes you 2 to 3 days. You can just type in this. You have to prompt AI very well. That's another key. If you prompt it very well, narrow your question very well, what you want to find out. Be focused on what you're looking for. AI will give you a lot of results, but then you really need to have to check them out, because what AI does, like ChatGPT, for instance, it gives you references. You really verify those references or cross-check them elsewhere. But in performance, in production, in project management, whatever, that's always, and a lot of tools are coming out every day. And those are part of the tool we'll be making aware during our campaign for people. Like in school, that's whole lot of tools, and I know Bernard, lots of them are used in the US and all of that place. But we don't have. There's a BRICS training, there's school AI, the LIFID, the CRUBOT, a lot of things about school that helps teachers as well as students to do better in school. Sorry. Actually, there's a Khan Academy. It's a UK. They use it a lot in the UK here. Khan Academy has that AI version of it. Maybe you do this list and send to send to the attendees, and it becomes their souvenir for coming for joining today. You know, maybe we'll look into that at the end of the program. But yeah, there are tools out there that can help. AI, it can do a lot. It can do a lot, but don't take away that human element. You still need to develop yourself. You still need to look into what it's doing, and that's why it's for each profession. So I mean, as an engineer or data analyst, I cannot go to use AI to prepare my case in court. I still need a lawyer to do that for me. So no matter what I prompt AI to do, I'll be foolish to take whatever and go to court and talk rubbish. You know, you cannot win. You know, everyone is protected. You still need that professionalism. You still need that critical thinking to survive.
Yeah, thank you so much. I was wondering, you mentioned about prompts. What is AI prompting? Can you just throw some light on that?
Okay, prompting is what the questions you ask AI to respond to. So when you write a question for what you're looking for, so there's lots of models or strategies you can do that, or tactics to do that well. So if you want to ask AI about something pertaining to law, you can say, as a high-profile legal practitioner, can you tell me what you think about this case? You upload the case. You can upload the case if you're using the tool that allow you to do that. You can actually ask AI to, as a project manager, can you help me plan this project? This is the scope. Put little information about that specific project. It will give you ideas. But remember, AI is built to make you happy. So it will, where there's no information, it will form some information, nice information, and put there for you to smile. So AI is done in a way that it makes you happy. At the time, you just have to make you happy. So when it doesn't know anything, you will find something nice and put there. So, so you really need to look at it very well before you take it. You don't when I say instead, don't swallow, just count it very well sometimes.
I was laughing. I learned something new today because there was a time, I could say, AI, this thing you generated is not the truth. Say, I'm sorry, let me just check. Let me check up on how it tells.
Yeah.
So don't cast everything on AI, please.
No. It's built in a way that it makes you happy. So when he doesn't know anything, just find something nice and put there and say, go away, man. So you really need to be careful.
Yeah, and I think that's a very important question for people who are getting to use AI. They need to know this. I keep on remembering the story of the lawyer who filed a case based on AI. I don't want to mention a particular AI here. He filed a case based on AI, and the judge was like, where did you get this from? He said his client actually sent it to him. And he said, are you the lawyer or is your client the lawyer? The client is a lawyer who had already been disbarred. So I believed his submission that he sent to me, and I was like, you cannot.
Can you imagine? Oh my God. It's just like me asking AI about the gods in my village. He might not have all the understanding because of the data he has been trained with. So I have to lecture AI. AI too will be collecting data for what.
Whatever you put there is taking it to answer another person's question. So whatever you put there is it will take it and answer someone else's question. That's the way it works. And some people have started prompting AI. Is this the first time you're hearing this? You say yes. Can you please reference me next time we want to use it somewhere else?
You see that?
That's an interesting prompt.
You ask AI if this is the first time he's hearing this. Say yes. So please reference me. It's my work.
That's an interesting prompt. That brings me to was this a question by Chianot? He said, you mentioned AI data discrimination resulting from preloaded data, putting Africans at a disadvantage. How can we ensure the uploaded AI data creates parity? I think this question was to you, Femi.
Yeah. I would just say that, we started with regulation, and that's why there are not many AI regulations currently, but at least the EU has come up with like a draft. Okay, they've come up with an AI Act, and there are three things that is focused on. There are high risk kind of deployment, high risk, limited risk, and minimal risk. So one of it, which is high risk, is this issue of discrimination. All right, you could hear when Obi was stating it earlier on about biometrics and the fact that people that if a data is missing, it could affect, maybe he gets to the airport and he puts on his fingerprint and something wrong. Then they just say, sorry, we don't have your data. All right, that could lead to a level of discrimination. So with regards to this particular question on discrimination, it was found out that there is something called this unconscious bias that some people have. And some of those people have preloaded some data into some of this AI content. Some of it deal with facial recognition. Initially, when this thing was being tested, it could not recognize or even if it recognizes my face, it might tag me. There's something called scoring. It might tag me and score me and say, this guy, instead, is prone, all right, to be a shoplifter because of my color or the color of my skin. It's machine learning. So that is what it has been taught into it. So the way you can create some parity is to retrain retrain that data, and that one has to come with a stick. You know what I'm saying? From probably the regulator to say that, hey, this your system has been found to be discriminating against people of this color, or maybe women. Do you get? Those are the things, the discrimination that can come. It could be at the airport. It could be when you want to vote. It could be, somewhere that you're not even aware of. That's why police agencies, government agencies need to awake to this reality, as regards AI. It has been proven. There is this lady's book. I watched it on Netflix and I watched some other documentaries. I think it's Joy. Joy, is it Joy? I don't want to mix the name, Doctor, or something like that. But the name of the book is Unmasking AI. You get it? Unmasking AI. So she spoke about this discrimination, that bias she faced, you understand, as a result of AI tools being deployed. So one of the ways we can, balance things is to ensure parity is to come out with strong regulations, that limit some of the deployment of these tools. Like you can see now, is it Meta? Meta is changing its privacy policy to an extent whereby Meta wants to use my data to train his own AI. Did you get that? So I have a right to reject, and there are a lot of issues going on right now. So that's one of the ways that I believe that parity, that gap can be closed up. So that's I think I should have answered that question. So that's it. And all right. So then in Africa too, yeah, we should have guardrails. That's it. Guardrails to the deployment of this tool. It should reflect our own, reality, not what somebody feels. But it has this discrimination has to do with color. When the person is a person of color, you believe that is from a lower class, or that person from that class does not have some benefits. Here they give in the Western world they give benefits. So if they are using AI can just cut off some people, from things that they deserve, as a result of discrimination. So what I believe the best tool to guard against that is the strong regulation against the deployment of AI tools, so that we walk around high risk deployment, limited risk deployment, and minimal risk deployment. Yes, that's it. It helps to come together for, to put things in perspective.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for talking about the regulatory part of this. Let me hear from Obi if there is the possibility of a technical part of it when you uploading the data. How do you ensure that there is parity? How do you ensure there is no discrimination from the technical part of it? How can that be done?
Yeah, thank you. It's called privacy by design. So I think it has to do with data collection. When those data are what are they collected for, and what data points, and is the people that you collecting their data, are they aware, and before they give it out? Because if someone is aware they're giving their data out, then it's something they're comfortable giving out. When it's used communally, it may not identify them, but it helps the community. So my input is to train our own AI with our own data. If we can start putting our data structure in place, putting those databases, data centers to make sure we have our own clean data clean enough to be used in AI. So we do Africa as a whole, and I mean in combination with other people, but let's have our own data train or add to what they've done so that everybody has very well represented. And it has to do with the initial aspect of data collection and collation. So Privacy by design is making sure that you have all those elements, those taking away all those discriminatory information out of taking them out in your data collection, because all data points has what they mean. When you add them together, they give you something else. Combination of different metrics, that's what brings about that response you see on ChatGPT. So it starts from the beginning, data strategy, making sure the right data is collected for the right purposes. And if data is no more useful or is collected for a different purpose, don't say because data is available, let's use it for something else. No, it might be different, and it might amount to some form of and it comes to that regulation, so that Femi is just hammering on and making sure that people are abiding by it, having the right audit system to know when people are not doing it right. Here in England, they can just check your system, or someone reports about it, you're in trouble that you did that. But in Africa, we don't have that system. People do what they want sometimes and get away with it. And that report system is not there. That awareness is not there. I keep coming back to awareness.
Yeah, but is that not the problem with having AI being very popularized in Africa without the necessary guardrails? Like, at least the data protection laws could be the first step in regulating AI, especially the information or the data that is uploaded into the tools. When you focus more on AI awareness and training and deployment, what do you do of the privacy risk that the AI is going to bring to the population?
I mean, that's not the job of the guy that's learning how to use AI to do their work. It's the job of our government, the policy maker, and then the people that are the engineers that are looking into that. And that's where regulations and strict deterrence refines are in place to make sure they're doing it right. That this data is generated every day. All this talking to you now is data. We're gathering data, isn't it? So it's generated every day. Is how to make sure whatever is going in the, and the more recent it is, the more information, the better information you have as to regards to what's happening now. You know, so we cannot educate everyone about how to gather data and be data developers and everything, but everyone needs to know how best to use well, when you think about data collection by the organization, I mean, you still need to tell people when you give your email, or when someone say I will give you like Facebook, everybody's on Facebook, for instance. You are the product. We are the product. We on the Facebook are the product, because we get it free. Think it's free. It's not free. You're selling your data already. All these photos, like Femi mentioned, they're using our data. They wanted to use our data without our consent to train their data, and that's a big issue that they're discussing at the moment. So people need to be aware, but more importantly, the regulations needs to be in place, and there must be a very substantial fines for people that are breaking the law, so that they'll make it easier for the rest of us that's using it out there. I think when you want to teach people about AI, part of what you're teaching them is data, and privacy is part of it. So I've never seen a data AI module curriculum that doesn't have ethics. And in ethics, you have that privacy by design, data privacy, and all that. You know, and you learn all that in one go. I don't think we have to stop talking about AI and teach about data in that sense. If you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm making sense.
No, you're making sense. What you have said is, let me summarize this. Data is important in building AI, but we cannot stop talking about the use of AI because we have not yet spoken about data. The two can go hand in hand. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, because we are generating data now, and what we are talking about data is to make sure it's clean enough and the right kind of data is collected. And why talking about data to people, you're talking about ethics, you're talking about data privacy and all that. You don't just go AI, because when I say awareness, it's bringing people up to speed with that data privacy, and then what AI can do. If you want to give people background about AI, you must talk about data and privacy, how it works. That's how the training or the curriculum we have, that's how it works. So I think it can go hand in hand, but most importantly is to get the policymakers involved and make sure that are doing the right thing with the lawyers like you guys to make sure we have the right law and order in place to guard everything.
Yeah. I just want to say, okay, sorry, Bernard. I wanted to say when I love the way Obi just connected it with, data privacy. It's a field that I've been in there for some time now, and I wouldn't lie to you. This issue about ethic, you mentioned that word ethics. AI and ethics is very, very crucial. You know why? Because, like I said, AI is gathering data is what makes AI function. That's the oil that that propels the engine of AI. But look at it. There's another aspect of data, and Obi has mentioned it: email, personal data; name, personal data; my plate number, personal data. Do you get it? My IP address, personal data, because it identifies me. And some principles govern this privacy. He just mentioned privacy by design. Let me not lie to you. No AI developer considers privacy by design. That's what he said at the beginning. That AI had already jumped out of the van before we are now chasing. And it's going at a very neck-breaking speed. It has already gathered all those data. So what do we do? And part of it is data minimization. Can AI do data minimization, per se? So I always say this: AI and privacy is very difficult to meet, but we have to still find a way that, parties that use these tools, that engage with this, they have to come about lawfulness of the data they use, transparency in what they do, very accountability also, because they've scraped different data of families and friends, in a way that if you're not careful, it can even affect you in ways. Bad actors are out there in ways that you can only imagine. So that's why we believe that enterprise organizations just need to, do some kind of repurposing of what they are going to do with, because that AI ethics with data privacy, it's something that we have to look into and look into very deeply, because it affects people's rights. Imagine I apply for a job, and because I'm a woman, you understand, and I'm a woman, the thing discriminated against me. It has affected a very serious right, for me to exist in the society. So, or a predictive system that, based on, they use it to determine who gets something, and I missed out just because of my color or just because of the data that has been fed into it, from what has been gleaned all over. So that's just the way it is. It's a very strong point that will be stated out there: privacy and AI. So it has to be ethical. That's it.
Thank you so much for insisting on those 2 points. And in the course of developing the ideas, you mentioned some 2 points that I also want you to expand on them. We are not here in in a data privacy class or in a circle that is enclosed to data privacy tech engineers or cybersecurity specialists. We are here in an open field where everybody is listening, and you've used some key terms: data minimization and accountability in this field. Can you just explain that so everybody can be on the same page?
All right. So this is it. When I collect much more data than I need, I should only collect what I need. Like, all right, I'm registering for this seminar, all right, and you're asking me for my social insurance number, something like that. I think that's not minimal. What is minimal for me to join this is my name, and probably my name and email. That is minimized. But when you're now going further to other, home address asking me about my age, all right, like AI will like, and asking me about some other details about my tribe, about my color, about my, school. Oh, that's so much data. So that principle that is being breached is called data minimization. And the opposite is what AI runs on. You know what I mean? It's data inexhaustible, not data minimization. So the other one, that is it accountability, that the other principle. So that's data minimization. Just
Yeah,
not collecting too much. Yeah, not collecting too much. Let's even finish with data minimization. Not collecting too much. I also link it with purpose limitation, which has to do you just using what is necessary to achieve the particular end. All right. But also, so accountability, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that comes from like what Meta is trying to do, to say, how will you go ahead and use people's data, all right, for a purpose they didn't give you for? I will object to that. The reason why I gave you not to be feeding AI. You understand? You cannot not go and write a warrior for. So you have to show to me that you're accountable. You get it? That is, you still align to the earlier purpose for which you collected that data in the first place. So these are some of those things that organizations need to show accountability. And it starts from their privacy notice, for them doing what they are doing. Though, like you said, it's not a privacy class, but definitely, OB brought us into that because it connects, especially when it relates to one of the most important data in the world, your personal data. Personal information about you, very, very crucial and important. And we need to stress that.
Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you both for bringing this important information to light. We are Africans, right? And considering Africa to be homogeneous for the purposes of this conversation, the management of personal data is not yet something we take very seriously. And maybe or maybe not, some people, maybe the telecommunications companies in Africa, are using our data to target us and have and achieve particular purposes. And we may not equally know. Some politicians may be using the data from these telecommunication companies to target us in particular ways to achieve political objectives. So data consciousness is very important. And let me bring Obi to the screen. He is very interested in awareness, because if we don't know what our data is doing, we will not know how much we are pawns in the hands of some people on our continent. So it's very important that we start keeping up to date with what is happening to our data, because our data is our life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah. And we have rights, like I said, we have this data rights. Maybe we don't know. More than 36 countries in Africa have data protection laws. All right. So, and like you said, something very critical. You said data is our life. Actually, it's true. It's true. It's a fundamental right, just like the right to life. And because when your privacy is gone, also, your whole life is gone. So there are rights like the right to delete my data. Do you understand? Right to be forgotten. Those kind of rights exist, but all these rights, without awareness, we're not going anywhere. So we need people to come alive, to be aware of those rights they have, so that they'll say, this thing, I just saw this thing on AI. Yes, I just brought everything about my life, out. When did I give them that data? And it's affecting your choices. It's affecting your opportunities. So Africans need to wake up.
And I think we need all of us. It's not like they say, safety is everybody's responsibility. When I'll give you an example, what happened recently. Some people came from Nigeria and to help them do their CV, and on top of their CV, their name, their full address, their mail, their date of birth, their address, their full address. It's on the CV, and it's been a while I saw those kind of CV, because I've been in England for some time. And I was like, what? Why do you have to? He said, no. They need to know where he's living. They need to know if he's male or female, his date of birth. I just said no. Even in Nigeria, you don't need to. It's they will penalize you. They will not even look at your CV. You don't know that. You see, and this is where I think our government, because it just said that lots of states have privacy laws, but it's not being implemented, and that awareness
That's the problem.
is not there. People need that support. So if I want to apply for a job and I feel I'm discriminated because I didn't put my age and sex in my CV, if I report, who do I report to? That's not if I report. Who do I report to?
Yeah.
Those agencies are here. There's someone you talk to and they pick it up and it becomes an issue for that organization. But it's not there at all. It's not there.
Yeah.
So that awareness needs to start happening, and it has. So I made him aware. I said, you need to remove all those things. You don't need it, and even in Nigeria, you don't need it either. But then, if you say don't put it, and he believes that they will penalize him because of that, there's nothing he can do.
Exactly.
And this is a place where someone can wake up in one morning, a manager can wake up one morning because he sent you to buy a coffee or tea the previous day. He refused. They said you're sacked. Go home.
Yeah.
So it's not something individuals can change that much, rather than, I mean, they'll be aware of it. And when they're aware of the awareness will now start making it come into the main stream conversation. It becomes a conversation, because when you're not talking about it, nothing will happen at all.
Yeah.
But when people are aware, they start talking about it, and that's the best way to go about. When I was discussing my project in the village, and they will sell our data. I said, oh, you know what is selling our data?
Are you serious?
That's okay. I said, okay. You have all these things in Facebook. How many times have you phoned Facebook and said, you know, they sell your data, they use it for that? Do you know what it means to all those things you're doing on Facebook? Now, all I want is your name, your village, and your email. That's all. You're talking about sale data, but you.
Yeah, so you know about selling of data.
When you want to travel from, you're snapping yourself in the airplane, you're dropping.
I know.
Every
data.
Second, you're telling people where you are every second of the day, and we're not worried about that.
I felt those people wanted to be transactional with their data.
Exactly.
Like, what do we have for what we are offering?
What we're offering, yeah.
I wish we can be that aware. I wish.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but I think I don't know how else to put it. The government needs to have a lot to do in the UK here. If you apply for a job, like the NHS, public sector, they would say in the state, because they will remove your name, remove everything about you before they give it to the team that look a different team that looks into your application. So in your statement where you write why you're suitable for the job, they will say if you are putting any identifiable information there, remove it, because they will not submit your application if they read anything and saw your name or that your mail. So you submit your application, they will remove your name, every other thing concerning you, just your experience and your statement. That's what they submit to another group that looks. That's what and it's in place because of the government is doing something about it. If not, discrimination is everywhere. It's not just
everywhere.
Even in our country, because this one is
racial. You are from North. Exactly.
So it's the same everywhere, even in this country. Even among themselves, among Caucasians, among themselves.
This one is from the North,
Exactly. So it's just the government doing something and putting something in place to manage that. And that's one thing I love so much, that ability to make people do it the right way. Remove your name, everything concerning them. Just judge them based on their experience and if they're suitable for your role. That's all. If that first one, okay, if the person comes and then there are other 3 or 4 people from different races that will be in the team, in the panel that will interview you, and everybody scores you what they want. After they take an average of what you scored, So it has to do a lot with the people at the top, Oga at the top. The Ogas at the top has to do a lot to make it happen. But it doesn't stop us from being aware. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hoping that we're going to be here for an hour, 30 minutes, but apparently we are getting up to 2 hours already. And there is one question that Remi Takang has left on LinkedIn, and he directs it to Obi. He says, what role do you think the government can play in the AI awareness drive?
Like I say, everything when it starts with the government, it helps a lot. Someone actually advised me to try and see in what we are doing, try and go into the government. If we can get our president's attention, he doesn't need to do anything, just to be at the inauguration and say, show the support. People tend to listen more when their rulers are behind what you're doing. But can we get them to the table? It's difficult, especially if you don't have the connection. The government can play a huge. You can imagine when a jingle about AI is coming and it's coming from one government agency, recognized as agency. That's a lot it can do. It can help, and then those regulations, those policies that helps to manage and secure and audit what people are doing with AI, and awareness in general. Government can do a lot, and I hope they don't talk, because now there are lots of talk about that AI and everything, but the implementation is the problem. I'm hoping that they will start putting their money where the amount is and doing something more than just trying to score political points. It's more than that. It's human beings, at risk at this age. So they should try and do more. There's a lot they can do. They will do a lot. They will change a lot if they get involved.
Yeah, I don't know the Minister of Technology or somebody, is it Dr. Bosun? But I see his social media communication encouraging technology, encouraging artificial intelligence. So maybe that could be a good resource to talk to. I don't know how effective that is. I don't know if that is being done for political purposes, but the public relations seems to be very positive from that ministry. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, it's just concerned about AI is the buzzing thing. When politicians look at it, they might look at it from another perspective. You know what I mean? But all the same, good or bad, at least something is moving. Maybe some traction can be gained, towards awareness. But all the same, I think they're doing a great job. I will not lie about that. There was a gathering of, stakeholders, developers, AI enthusiasts and the like some times ago, which I think is a great thing, from that ministry of technology. And you can't be talking about innovation and don't talk about AI, at this stage. So even if you want to steal money from them, just let us know that people are getting that, create the cause. Let's get aware. It doesn't matter. Just make us aware.
Exactly.
I'm not saying anybody is stealing money because I don't have evidence. But I'm just saying, even if the end is to, just make sure we stay aware.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I see. I kind of look at how technology and innovation is working around the continent, and I'm impressed with what the Minister of Technology of Nigeria is doing. I don't have information about other countries, but I don't see such implication as much as the Minister of Technology of Nigeria
is doing well. It's doing very well.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, it's doing very well. Very well. It's training 3 million. He has a vision of 3 million young people, in technology. And this definitely, as they're getting into technology, where they're coming into AI to deploy and do a lot of, he's really doing a lot of work. He has done it before many years ago as a private sector person, but now he's now in the public sector. I hope he's gaining some good traction.
Now I want to give both of you an assignment, and that assignment is to bring the minister to this platform. I don't know how you guys are going to do it, but get him to this platform to tell us what he's doing. That can inspire in other countries in Africa. So get him here. Let's talk about what he's doing.
Yeah. We'll try send him a message. Send him a message. Send him. It's going to respond. I think it's quite out there. It's
Yeah.
unassuming. I think so. I don't know him, but I think
Yeah.
it's quite unassuming. But it's doing a lot. Sincerely, it's
A
doing a
lot of
lot.
things going on, and implementation, which is our problem from day one. I hope is getting traction. Because our problem is implementation. We know about all these things, go for
I
seminars,
know.
go out, but implementation is our problem. But no matter how you look at it, the awareness is going on. I mean, the what is talking about it. He's trying to put some programs. Is it going to come to an end, fruitful end? I don't know, but it still goes towards that awareness and people getting, waking
Yeah,
up
and
and saying,
when I go through my X feed, right, most of what I see about technology in Africa is coming out of Nigeria. Honestly, cybersecurity, data privacy, artificial intelligence is always Nigeria, and I'm kind of impressed with the engagement that Nigerians are taking. And when the minister was in India, I think there was some conference in India, and he was there with the president. He actually brought together Indians in Nigerians in India who are working on technology and artificial intelligence. And I think just that public relations is something positive. And if it does not yield fruit today, maybe it's going to yield fruit tomorrow.
hopefully.
So, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming to the program. We have hit the 2-hour mark, and I would like you to kind of give your closing remark, your last word you would like to leave the audience with. Let's start with Obi.
Okay. Thank you, Bernard, for the time. And I just want to say that, as like I said before, AI is gonna happen to all of us. It's very important that we all put heads together to see what we can do to make it available to everyone that needs it. In that case, it's everybody, the whole population. First of all, is to aim to bridge that skills gap and prepare African youths for the future. Making sure that there's opportunities for young people to thrive in the digital age is there. There's lots of challenges, but it's doable. It's doable, regardless of the number. Let's put heads together, keep having this conversation. This kind of conversation is what it's all about, the awareness. I hope it will continue. And thank you all for listening in. And let's know if you have any questions or any concerns. And I know we'll find a way of getting back to you through banner. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Obi. If the viewers have any questions or any comments, you can always leave them in the comments section, or you can send us a chat and we'll always reply to you. Femi, can you give us your final words?
All right. So, it's been a very great conversation. It's enlightening. I learned something good. I learned something new. That AI does not know it all. All right. So that means AI too cannot take all our jobs, and it will not. Rather, it will create more jobs. That's the prophecy, and it will create more jobs. So then let us be scared about it as Africans. Let us see ways in which we can innovate, in which we can integrate it into what we have currently and make the world a better place. It's been a great one. Let the conversation continue. And another thing I learned today is that if there is no awareness, you understand, about this, we're not going anywhere. So let's keep engaging. Let's keep talking about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Femi. And there is one last comment from Remy Takan Array. He says, interesting conversation. Shout out to Obi and to Femi. Thank you guys very much for coming. And one other lesson I've had from this conversation is AI is there. AI is not going anywhere. AI is not taking your job. AI is going to help you become better, more efficient at your job. So get onto the tools and get AI rocking with you. Thank you so much for watching. We are definitely going to be back in the near future, with another edition of this program. And we will listen to people who are engaging as Obi and Femi, people who are doing it, and people who are ready to share their skills and their knowledge with everyone. Stay tuned and see you next time.